All right, let's take a look at transitions in the Inspired Sales System. So, what is a transition? We're going to get into that. You'll notice in the Inspired Sales System, there's several places that we talk about transitions. So today we'll spend some time talking about the transition questions. But when you're doing your company story, we'll talk about transitions between the slides. As you're going from step to step, we'll talk about transitions from one step to the other. So what is a transition? Well, the simplest way to look at it is like a bridge. A transition just helps you move from one thing to another very easily, right? It makes it very smooth. Yes, you could start on one bank of a river and walk across the water and who knows, fall in, get wet, hit your head. I don't know what's going to happen. But this is a much harder path than it is to just walk across the bridge, right? So at the end of the day, you're looking for ways to make your inspired sales system or to make your sales system smooth. And I know in the beginning, it feels like all these steps we learn piece by piece by piece by piece, and it feels chunky, right? Because in your mind, you're having to think through, how do I get from this step to this step to this step to this step? And it sort of feels like it's a chunky process. Well, if you did just that, it would feel chunky to you and to the customer. What's key about it is to build transitions from one step to the next so that the sales system just sort of moves very smooth, right? It becomes a smooth process with a smooth flow rather than this just being 10 steps that I've got to chunk my way through. So I want you to think of your sales system as being points that you're using transitions as bridges to move between the points. It just helps you with a smooth flow. So today we're going to spend a lot of time talking about, not a lot of time, some time talking about the transition questions, which are really designed to help you move from step one to step two. Now, in the Inspired Sales System, when you go through and you read all the documentation, the transition questions are part of step one. They're part of the warm-up. But the reality is they're right at the tail end of the warm-up, and they are truly there to transition you and to transition the customer from step one to step two. So think about, let's play a scenario with me. I had a husband and wife customer, Matt and Sarah, and they were into scuba diving. Now, I didn't know that. When they came in through Angie's List or Home Advisor or something. And I walked up to the house, parked right in front of the front door, and walked up the driveway, and the garage was open. And when I looked in the garage, I mean, I didn't like stare into the garage or go in there, but the door was open so I could see inside the garage, and there was all sorts of scuba equipment there. There was wetsuits and flippers and air tanks and regulators, all kinds of stuff in there, right? I didn't know what most of the stuff was. I don't scuba. I have no idea what this stuff is. So when I knock on the door, ring the doorbell, Matt comes to the door and he says, I introduce myself. Hi, this is Arlen. I'm here with Floor Coverings International to take a look at your carpet job. Oh, I remember you. We spoke on the phone. Great. And then I just stopped and said, Matt, before we get started, I noticed that your garage door was open and you've got a bunch of scuba equipment in there. I've never scuba dived before. I don't know what any of this stuff is. Could you take a minute and show me could we take a minute and just show me what some of this stuff is and what it does? He's like, sure, let's do that. So we never even made it into the house. We went straight into the garage and we spent 20 minutes in the garage and he showed me flippers and wetsuits and regulators and all sorts of stuff, right? Well, okay, I'm genuinely interested, not that I've been scuba diving since talking to Matt, or not that I don't know. Will I ever? Who knows? But what I learned more than about scuba diving, I learned about Matt and Sarah. I learned that they really enjoy going down to the Caribbean and doing some scuba diving. I learned that they specifically got licensed, or they took their courses in order to be able to do this together because it's something they wanted to be able to do together. I learned how they go about buying stuff, not financially, but their mental process. So I asked him, what's the difference between this regulator and another regulator? How do you pick these? And he says, well, there's a ton of regulators that are out there, but I always go and look online. I read the reviews and I say, bingo, you read reviews. Okay, so now what have I done? I took that review information and I put it in my back pocket because I'm going to pull that out later. When I'm in the company story, I'm going to absolutely remind Matt that he looks at reviews when he buys regulators, and there's a ton of people that write reviews about Floor Coverings International. So I am collecting information from this warm-up, right? I'm collecting information from this warm-up. So then he tells me all about not only the regulators, he talks about all sorts of stuff and flippers and how he buys stuff. Great. So I remember all that, right? We have a wonderful conversation about scuba and about all these different places that we've been. And about 20 minutes later, the conversation just sort of died down, which is natural. It will. Maybe it'll die down in 10 minutes, 15 minutes, I don't know. But at some point, the conversation just sort of naturally dies down. So I looked at Matt and said, so tell me, how long have you been thinking about replacing your floor? So what does this signify? What does this do for Matt? This is a simple, easy question that just signifies that we're done with the warm up and it's now time for business. That's it. And there's no pressure here. It's just natural, right? Oh, you went scuba diving, regulators. This is how you bought flippers. Talk to a trusted friend, blah, blah, blah. Great. Okay. So the conversation sort of comes to an end, as most do. It's like now I'm introducing a new topic. Okay. I could have said, well, have you ever tried parachuting, and open up another conversation? But I don't want to open up another conversation. I'm ready to get on with business. So I'm going to guide Matt and Sarah. She's in the garage with us. I'm going to guide them into the next phase. And what is the next phase? We're going to go look at the floor together. But before we do, we need to so this is where I'm talking about it not being so chunky. If I had said, okay, let's go to work now, it feels chunky, right? No, this is a smooth way to get there. How long have you been thinking about replacing your flooring? And Matt says, well, we have this dog that we got. We got the dog about a year ago, and 6 months or so ago, we noticed that there's some accidents that have been happening. So we don't want the carpet anymore. We want to do something different. Okay, great. What made you decide to do it today? And Matt says, well, I don't know that we're going to do anything today. Oh, really? What makes you say that? Well, I always get 3 estimates before making a decision like this, and you're the second person that I've talked to. So we've got another appointment on Tuesday, and we'll probably make a decision after that. Great. Let's go take a look at the space. All right, so see what this does? This allows me to pull that objection out. So why do I want that objection? One of the big differences between the Inspired Sales System and other sales systems is that we actually want to get the objection. So many other sales systems are like, no, I don't want to hear why you don't want to do it. Everything's got to be yes, yes, yes. This is quite frankly the opposite. I want to hear what the no is, and I want to hear the no early. So Matt says, I'm going to get other estimates. Now all the pressure is off him. He feels like nobody's going to try to force me to do anything today because they know I'm going to get other estimates. Great, no problem. Okay. Getting that objection early allows me to be able to work with that objection as I'm going through the company story, as I'm presenting product, as I'm doing everything. It allows me to show Matt why, and Sarah for that matter, it allows me to show Matt and Sarah why it is that Floor Coverings International is the only quote they actually need. But if I don't know that in advance, I can't use it. And I can't assume something if the customer doesn't say it. So I can't just walk in and say, well, I know most people get 3 estimates, so I'm going to assume that you do. No, I can't use it if he didn't say it. All right, so what if he doesn't say it? Let's look at a different way that this might have gone. How long have you been thinking about replacing your flooring? Oh, I don't know, about 6 months. Well, what made you decide to do it today? Well, I had the day off, and this seemed like a really good time for you to come out and give me a quote. Well, oh, really? What makes you say that doesn't really fit, does it? And I don't really have an objection yet. He said he was going to get a quote from me, but he's not saying that he's getting other quotes. So I might follow that with, well, that's great. What made you decide to buy from me today? Oh, wait a minute. I'm not buying anything today. Oh, really? What makes you say that? So see, that second part of the number 2 question is designed to just put enough pressure to be able to get the objection, and then you back off the pressure again. Question number 2, what made you decide to do it today? It is absolutely designed for someone to give you an objection. It is meant for somebody to say, oh, I'm not doing it today. That's why this question is really, really carefully worded. What made you decide to do it today? It doesn't say what made you decide to get a quote today. It's what made you decide to do it today. I want the customer to have the impression that, oh my gosh, I'm actually doing something today, right? Great. You'll also notice that the question begins with the word what. not the word why. Why is such an interesting word. And in the English language, why automatically puts people on the defensive. Try this. The next time you're going to go out, maybe you're going to take your spouse out, significant other, you want to go out, and you ask your spouse, so where would you like to go eat tonight? And they say, oh, I want to try the new place that's down on the corner. Well, why do you want to go there? Doesn't that automatically feel like an accusation? I mean, think about it. Why do you want to go there? It sounds like now she needs to defend herself or himself, right? I'm thinking about myself. If I ask my wife, where do you want to go eat tonight? Oh, I want to try the Irish pub downtown. Well, why do you want to go there? Automatically, it puts people on the defensive. And there's something about that word why that automatically puts people on the defensive. So we're going to avoid using it and just substitute the word why for what? What made you decide to do it today? Or in the case of going out to eat, what is it about the Irish pub that makes you want to go there? Okay, it's the same. I'm trying to get the same information, but it comes at it from a much different place. So this is why we talk about the transition questions being something that you want to ask word for word and memorize them word for word. This is really the only place in the sales system that I'm going to ask you to memorize something word for word, only because this helps keep you out of trouble. If you ask people why, it's going to put them on the defensive. If you ask people, why are you getting a quote today? It puts people on the defensive. It doesn't say anything about getting it done. That's why this question is designed the way that it is. What made you decide to do it today? All right. Question 3. Oh, really? What makes you say that? It's just about getting somebody to open up and get more information, right? Tell me more about, oh, really? What makes you say that? And again, that question 2B is to uncover the real objection. Why is it that they're not going to buy today? So you might not use that question, okay? That 2B question, you might leave in your pocket. If you get an objection, the minute you get the objection, move on. How long have you been thinking about replacing your flooring? Oh gosh, it's been 10 years. Well, what made you decide to do it today? Oh, you know what? This seemed like a great time to do it. It's been 10 years. It's been way too long. I finally got the money in the bank to do something like that. Well, fantastic. What made you decide to buy from me today? Oh, time out there, Slick. I'm not buying anything today. Oh, really? What makes you say that? Well, I always get other estimates, and you're only the second person that's been here. I'll probably get 2 or 3 more before I actually make a choice. Great. Let's go take a look at the space. Okay. Let's do another one. How long have you been thinking about replacing your flooring? Oh, I don't know, the last 6 or 7 months. Well, what made you decide to do it today? Oh, I'm not doing anything today. Every time I have somebody come into the house, I always have to do my research. I go back and look at reviews. I make sure that I know exactly what's up with this company. And I'm just now starting out my research on you guys. Oh, great. Let's go take a look at the space. See, once I have the objection, I don't need to ask again, right? Once I have the objection, great. Let's go take a look at the space. Obviously, put this in your own words, whatever makes sense to you. But now you have your objection, and it's just time to move on. And by using those transition questions, it allows you to move from the warm-up, right at the end of the warm-up, it allows you to move smoothly into step 2, where now we're looking at the space together and we can inspect the space together. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to not seeing you, because I won't see you, but you'll see me. So I look forward to you seeing me in the next module.